I find it very problematic, again, because they look at the human as a materialistic entity. Okay, you don't feel good, let me give you this pill, and that's everything will be just fine. What's totally missing in the transhumanist approach to human happiness, the human well-being, is the concept of virtue, the concept of cultivation of values. All of that is just utterly, it's just not there. So I believe that they offer us a very shallow understanding of being human and trying to make us better through technology. That's what's totally misguided. A third point has to do with radical life extension. Radical life extension, I find a real problem, and you're telling me that it's coming. I would say that it's problematic for the following reason. First of all, living longer doesn't mean living better. Second, if we're going to live longer, what are we going to live long for? What is this living longer for? What are we going to do with 150 years or 200 years? Are we going to go, we're going to have more war? Are we going to just have more fun? Are we going to have more consumption? What does it mean to have more? What are we going to do in 200 years? We can barely know what to do with 70 years. Most people have a real problem with being bored, which is, I think, a real problem for many young people today. So what is the point of living longer? I really don't get it. I also believe that the radical life extension looks at death in a distorted way. Death is considered the enemy of life. That's according to Aubrey de Grey, who is the major crusader of radical life extension. Really leads a campaign against death. I think that's a misguided campaign. The money should go somewhere else. And I don't see that death should be understood as an enemy. It's not. It's an end. It's a cessation. Yes, that's fine. That's true. But I don't think that it's really the horrendous thing that that really galvanize all your efforts in order to defeat. So I think that attitude toward death is mistaken. I would say that there is wisdom in mortality that we need to recover, and people in the transhumanist movement don't enable us to do it. And finally, on the notion, on the major theme of the transhumanist movement, this human-machine interface and the whole notion of which is connected with it, the cyber immortality, the fact that we're going to download our minds into some machinery, into very, very powerful artificial machines, that to me is also very, very problematic. And what's problematic about it is the notion that this kind of immortality offers you the dream that humans are really seeking. Well, I believe that humans try to be immortal, but I don't believe that if you download your mind into a machine, you can be immortal. That seems to me just a fantasy, even though very smart people like Ray Kurzweil promote that fantasy. I still believe that it's misguided, and primarily it's misguided because they believe that perfection can be achieved in the here and now. And that is a mistake. You cannot be perfect. By definition, being a human means being imperfect. So the transhumanist approach to perfection is simplistic. They offer a utopian future, which presumably is realizable in the present, but in fact, to be utopian, it cannot be realizable. So that to me is the major failure of the entire movement. Now, why do I take transhumanism seriously? Because I do agree with Brad. It's everywhere. We are in it. We're in the process. So my problem as a humanist is that we don't pay enough attention to what's going on around us. We think it's a kooky thing of praising people, only praise people involved in this movement, but it's not true. A lot of money is going into these projects, and I think that we misdirect those very limited funds because we have to put the effort and the resources into something much more important. For example, ending poverty, ending violence, ending corruption. How do we revive human creativity? How do we try to do all sorts of things which you can no longer do, because I look at technology to a great extent as an activity that actually numb our creativity, not restore our creativity. So I think that we have a real challenge where we are in this particular moment, and that's why I think it's a good time to revisit all those issues, not to take anything for granted that these techno-enthusiasts are telling us, but rather taking them to task, challenging them to engage philosophical, ethical, cultural, religious, historical dimensions of what they propose, and not just say because we can do something, we should do something. Well, I definitely do not hold that view. So thank you for coming here. Let us all begin to think together where we need to go in the 21st century.
Thank you both. At this point, I'd like to open up the mic to the floor for any questions, comments, etc.
One of the difficulties with transhumanism is really the ethical implications. And approaching it as a humanist, I'm sure you're saying, where is the foundation for the ethics in this field? And you consider it hubris because the field really can't address those, nor could they address the ethical implications of nuclear technology, any of the technologies that came forward in the past. Printing press totally revolutionized people's thought patterns, ability to consume literary works, which fundamentally changed culture by hyper-educating people compared to what they were 100 years ago, or maybe they had one Bible, in a community to teach people these moral lessons. And I do see that there's a great departure from the old books of the past, the Bible, the Quran, Buddhist teachings, Indian honorific teachings, etc. They can't address this new transhumanist paradigm. But as you do admit, it is, and we are in the waters of transhumanism right now. And do you think that rejecting the transhumanist technologist view of utopia is going to benefit society, or do you need to actually readily engage this technology and not just opt out? Because
I'm not opting out. We spent 4 years together. I'm the PI of this project, so I did not opt out. I actually said, no, we need to pay attention to it. Some of my colleagues said, why are we taking transhumanism so seriously? Most of these people are really ridiculously either naive or just uninformed or whatever. And I said, no, they're not just naive. They are really serious. Let's deal with it. So I don't believe that. I agree with you on one point that we may not have all the wherewithal to imagine what this technology can do. I guess you probably hold that view too. That it's very hard to imagine what this new age would look like. But a new age in which the Homo sapiens basically replaces the Homo sapiens, to me, is not something that I celebrate. I really don't. Now you can call me a bioconservative or bio-Luddite or whatever. Those are the terms that the people in the transhumanist movement use against their critics. But I don't think that I would like to live in an environment when I actually have to be constantly competing against machines, intelligent machines. And that's the vision that we will be replaced by intelligent machines. It's just a matter of time. Now, you know more about that than I do, so maybe you have a different view.
I think that there's a number of different approaches here. Now, first, remember the difference between the culture and the technology. There are interesting cultural issues, but I think to some extent the technologies are very powerful and they're going to continue to be developed. What that will do is interact with the culture in ways that are very difficult to predict. One of the things that the study of technology tends to illustrate is the fact that if a technology is sufficiently powerful to be at all interesting, it's powerful enough that you can't predict its effects. The railroad, for example. When the railroad came to the United States, 1830s, 1840s in particular, the villages in the United States were almost all self-contained because you couldn't really get a lot of stuff in and out of the villages. The economy operated at a local community scale. That changed completely. We got the trusts within a matter of 10 or 20 years. The huge monopolies. We changed the scale of the American economy. Nobody predicted that. It was impossible to predict just by looking at that train coming down the pipe. We have at least five major technology systems that are now in a period of radical transition and accelerating. You've got biotech, nanotech, you've got information and communication technology, you've got robotics, and you've got cognitive science. The challenge, it seems to me, is to try to grapple with the implications of those technologies in real time and to do so in ways that are effective. One of the visions is that humans are opposed to technology. It's kind of the matrix approach. It's the Frankenstein approach. It's a very common thread in particularly